Hello dear Housebreakers, welcome to today's video. Today we are going to talk about something pretty recently. It's about Pokemon, and there has been a new Pokemon announced back in the end of February. I know I'm not really early on this topic, but I would like to talk about it anyway. I really enjoy the series and I'm pretty excited for this new edition called Pokemon Venus and Uranus. It's about the 20th anniversary of Pokemon, and they announced something at Pokemon Direct. It's some sort of live event that's happened pretty recently. I think it's the 27th of February. And they announced a new gen of Pokemon, I guess. A new game coming out on the 3DS in holiday. But we will talk about this a bit more in the end of the video. So I really enjoy playing Pokemon. I played it since the Pokemon Yellow back in the beginning, and I've played almost every single game since, except for X and Y, since I don't have a 3DS. But I really enjoy them. I am not an expert. I don't really do research about the games. I just play them for fun, and I like the gameplay, and I love raising my Pokemon and defeating the Elite Four. So I'm not like a really nerdy guy which search all the stats and do my research about stories and how the gameplay develops and all that stuff. I'm just playing the game, enjoying it. I'm breaking this short video down because they actually put up in their live stream a sort of promotion video, which we got a few screenshots out of. You probably have seen them already if you're a Pokemon fan. But I wanted to look at them together with you guys and talk about what I think is in them and talk about my opinions of what probably will be the game later this year. So before we are going to look at the very first screenshot, I want to address that this is very personal and subjective, so I don't really have a lot of facts. I'm just giving you my opinion. This doesn't mean that this is going to be in the game or necessarily is the way I tell it will be. I'll give my speculations as well as of the things I see in the screenshots and what I think is going to be implemented in this game and maybe even later on in the future of Pokemon. So anyway, let's take a look at this first screenshot. We can pretty much see here that this is probably going to be a Pokemon Center. It even shows you the different stages. I think these are the kind of 3 or 2 stages of the center itself, the design stages more or less. We can see in the left corner in the bottom that there's the first version, and then the second version next to it, and then the huge detailed version above it. So I think this is the like guide through in like the design process. You can also see a snippet in the left, some sort of printed out picture of the, I think that's the inside of the building, the inside of the Pokemon Center. And what I also see is that the center itself looks a bit small because it's so large on the top but smaller on the bottom. But I think it's that kind of building which looks small on the outside but has a, because you know that's a screen that's going to be switched when you step indoor. It's going to fade into black and fade back in again, and then you can put it as big and as large as you want. So I don't think that has a huge impact, and I think the indoors will be huge, as Pokemon Centers usually are. And we can also directly see that 3D will be implemented as well, just like in the X and Y version. This version will be 3D as well. I mean, what you can call 3D, of course. This is like still some sort of isometric perspective, but it's all 3D rendered, I guess, and it looks pretty good. It looks like a Pokemon Center, you can tell right away. So the design is pretty good as always, and I really enjoy the way they keep improving and changing their Pokemon Centers, but still keep the main aspects of it. You can see that Pokeball is integrated as well as on the front of it as in the top of it. It's got that typical red color, and it just looks nice. So I'm really enjoying this first screenshot already. So here we are at the second screenshot, and we can see some pretty exciting stuff here. Some new stuff, trucks in particular. I don't know if there were trucks in the anime series or some sort of in the television version, but I think this has never been done before, at least not in a practical way, that there has been trucks in the game. And it's pretty nice to see that the Pokemon are integrated in these trucks as well. You can see that there are Pokemon in the sort of safari truck in the top, and there are Pokemon in the like fire truck sort of thing in the left corner bottom. So it's nice to see that they are integrated as well, that these are not just trucks that are trucks like in the real world, but these are trucks that are actually fitting pretty good into the Pokemon universe. So like I said, we can see some sort of safari basic truck, some kind of fire truck, and then an ambulance. I think that's an ambulance sort of truck. And this is pretty interesting as well, because I think the ambulance has a sort of nice element to it, and I think this is going to be some sort of mechanic like a Pokemon that learns fly. So this could mean that if you passed, like for example, Route 101, and you passed that already, that once you go back to that route, you can easily call some sort of ambulance or something like that, which can heal your Pokemon whenever you are in that route. So that's just like the Pokemon Center, which we saw in the previous screen, but on wheels. So something that can come to you instead of you going each time to the big city for healing of your Pokemon. So I think that's pretty interesting. But I think if you want to balance that out, you have to implement it, like I said, in some sort of fly mechanic or HM mechanic, which you can only use in the cities and streets that you already have been to. So this would be pretty OP if you can call an ambulance anywhere in the world. Then the point of the Pokemon Center, of course, would go away as well. I don't know about the other trucks, if they are going to be implemented in some kind of same way as the Pokemon sort of center on wheels. I don't know if the fire truck will be of any significance in the game, besides maybe of the storyline. Maybe that's a sort of element which some city will burn down or anything like that, but I don't think that's really going to be practical as a trainer. And then the top one could maybe be some sort of safari truck, which you can go to the safari zone with, or I don't really know. But it's nice to see that they're integrating a new sort of mechanic, like we had the bicycles and we had some cars on roads. So we're going to get trucks now, so that's pretty interesting. And then we can also see on the bottom right corner that there's a seagull, and it's a really nice seagull right there. I don't know why they would show that as well, but well, there you go, there's a seagull. So in the next screenshot, or screenshots, because we have one normal version and one zoomed in version of the same picture, we have a really interesting building on the right side, which is popped out as a picture in probably Windows Photo Viewer. And we got some other pictures in the background as well. But let's take a look at the big building first. So I'm pretty sure you can already tell that this is going to be some sort of water thing. This can be like an aquarium or a gym or even a hotel, because I also see a palm tree in the left in that big picture and some sort of fountain with a seahorse on it. So I think this is more like a hotel, because this has a lot of elements which a hotel would have and not a gym. But there are also silhouettes of water Pokemon on it, so I don't really know. This could be an aquarium where you visit Pokemon, or maybe it could be a gym where you fight them as well. But we can also see a person like standing there with some sort of baggage. So I really think this is going to be some sort of hotel, like we have the big malls in the biggest cities of the previous Pokemon games. This could be a mall maybe as well, or at least a big building which you can probably sleep or decorate, because we can also see on the left that there are some pictures with the interior of rooms or buildings. And I think in the like right bottom corner picture of the 4 on the left side, we can see some kind of framework or some sort of customization of the interior, and I'm probably guessing that that's going to be an element of the game as well, where you can design your own rooms with certain elements, or with couches, or with TVs, or all that stuff. So I think that's going to be an element in the game. And you can also see in the left top corner that there's some kind of motel. There's that truck again. I think that's the same truck from the previous screenshot, which is parked there, and there's some sort of billboard with that one lazy Pokemon on top of it. So I think that's more like a motel, and the right picture is a hotel. But I think staying at night or sleeping or some sort of stuff which you do there is a pretty big element of the next game, because there are pretty much all the screenshots are indicating that there is this sort of system where you can stay or visit or sleep or anything like that at these bigger buildings than usual. So like I said, the water resort or water hotel, which we also have a zoomed in version, which is a bit darker as well, because we can clearly see that there are two persons on the right side sort of checking in or talking with their baggage next to them. So this has a lot of sides of an hotel instead of a gym. The only thing that could indicate that this is a gym is those typical Pokeball signs that are painted on the ground or on the entrance and on the top of the entrance. And there's also silhouettes of some water Pokemon, and there's the water Pokemon on the fountain as well. So this is a pretty close call between a gym or an aquarium or a hotel or something. This can even be a mall, I don't know. But at least it has something to do with water. I mean, you can't make a building like this and put all the fire Pokemon inside, so this has to do something with water. What it exactly is, nobody knows. Maybe you know. Be sure to leave it in the comments what you think this could be. I would be very interested to read your opinions, but I think if I had to say what it is, I think this is going to be an hotel, but that's my opinion, of course. So we are already at our last screenshot, our last interesting moment of the video. And here we can see clearly some coding. It's probably Japanese or Chinese, I don't really know, but I do know that this is probably going to be just as understandable in English as it would be in these languages, so I wouldn't even know what it said anyway, so it doesn't really matter. But we can see that they are coding, and they're probably doing this at the 3D model that is in the background, obviously. And they're probably making the animations or the properties of this element, this Pokemon. We can also see that this is probably going to be a bird. You can clearly see the head with the sort of beak at the top and their typical feet at the bottom, which pretty much indicates, and the wings of course as well, which pretty much indicates that this is going to be a bird. And I think this is going to be the sort of bird you encounter at the early stage of the game, which probably evolves like 1 or 2 times, which is one of the first Pokemon you would catch probably. But I think it's a really cute one. It's sort of like a fledgling. I really enjoy the design here, the colors, as much as I can see, of course. But I'm like 100% sure this is going to be a bird. And it's interesting to see that they are like actually putting some detail into it. They're modeling the 3D model. They're doing a lot of code on this, so they really want to get this right. And you can clearly see the effort and the detail they're putting into this. So that's really good to see. I like that they put that into the video as well. So they won't settle for some basic Pokemon or basic animations. They really want to get all the stuff right and want to get the 3D model, which gives more of sort of a like integration of what you're playing than back when we were playing Pokemon Yellow, Blue and Red. I mean, it's still a good game, don't get me wrong, but in the pixelated version I was already thinking like, how good would Pokemon be in 3D? So, and this is actually the moment where they're going to put a lot of effort into it. I know X and Y had 3D already, but it's nice to see that they're continuing with this and they're putting a lot of effort into it, as well as with code, as with design elements. So that's really good to see. So with all these screenshots reviewed, we can already conclude that this is going to be a game as we know them, a game of Pokemon. There are going to be the iconic elements, which will already be there. The gameplay, which we already know, is going to be the same as always, but there are some pretty nice elements and pretty fine touches that they put into this new game. Really new surprising stuff like the trucks. I don't think we have ever seen that stuff before. The 3D, which we of course have seen before, but still it's a pretty nice addition. And I like that they put this out as well as on the same date as the 20th anniversary. It was really nicely planned, and I think we waited long enough for a new Pokemon game. I think the only thing we are really wanting from now on is something completely different, like the Pokémon sort of tournament fighting game which they are building in Japan and China probably. That's a really nice new implementation of the Pokémons. But of course we would all enjoy a sort of 3D RPG Pokemon game. The most of all, I think that's the only thing that they didn't do still now, and they still haven't done that. But I think as long as these standard Pokemon games like the Pokemon Sun and Moon are going to be their piggyback horse, which they can make a lot of money on, they're going to keep making these every 1 or 2 years because they are so profitable, of course. But it would be really nice if they would finally put some effort into new ideas, like especially the Pokemon Go is something completely different but still stays inside of the Pokemon sort of universe, so I really encourage that. But I mean, a 3D Pokemon RPG sort of game, that would be like insane. I would never go outside again. I mean, I would play that every day. That's like the only dream you have when you first played the first Pokemon game you ever had. That's like the first thing that came to your mind, like I want to play this game like in first person and I want to actually throw the ball and all that good stuff. So that's the only real thing we're waiting for now. Of course, if there are going to be more screenshots released or more teaser videos, we will going to be discussing that as well. I'm really looking forward to that. But this is all we got for now. Still, this is pretty exciting stuff. I mean, this would, in some day, this would probably give me the idea to buy a 3DS just to play this game, because like there are not going to be any emulators for this, of course, and that would be stealing as well. So I wouldn't really mind in some years to come to just buy the 3DS to play this game alone. So they really did a good job there. It's a pretty good system seller, because I don't think the 3DS would be this good if they didn't have games like Pokemon and probably Mario Kart and all that stuff. So this is a really good game seller. So that's all for now. I hope you enjoyed this video, this review of these screenshots. But the important part of this all is, of course, you as the viewer. I want to know what you think about this. I want you to like if you do like it. I want you to dislike if you don't. Just be honest about it. Leave your opinion, leave your own review if you want to. And share this with your friends if you can. And subscribe if you want to see more content like this. Hope you enjoyed and see you in the future. Bye.